Hello, hello. My name is Victoria Vong. I'm also from Seattle. I'm a senior at Garfield High School in Seattle, and I'm actually attending Seattle U this fall as a Sullivan Scholar. First of all, we gotta thank Class of '66 for the innovation that is the concept of Princeton Prize. And that shows not only your investment in a better future, but the fact that you allowed us to have this experience that I didn't even know would be so valuable to me after meeting all of you guys. Also, shout out to my mom and dad who aren't here, but thanks to the fam for all the love. Yeah, I could probably fill the next 3 minutes with all the thank yous I have, but I'm gonna move on. Thank you to everyone, I guess. About Garfield. In numbers, it is demographically diverse, and it's also in a gentrifying neighborhood that's quickly changing. It's also criticized by our district for being two schools. We have a high-achieving, mostly white, accelerated program, and the other classes, the regular classes, are filled with mostly people of color from the neighborhood in historically Black and Asian immigrant neighborhoods like where I'm from. And as someone like me who identified in first grade, as someone who needed help with English, needed tutoring to catch up with everyone, and kept testing and testing and testing to get into higher programs, to get into APP finally when they let me in, I started to question what is the point of having integration, all races at one school, if within that school there's a segregation based among lines of privilege. Also, how does this institutional segregation lead to social self-segregation that carries on after we leave high school and we keep the same friends we've had in high school? I decided to join the school newspaper, The Messenger, to investigate my suspicions about inequality and also to tell stories that I thought deserved to be told. I wrote about things like gentrification in the neighborhood and also some forms of religious persecution of Muslim students in my school, which people don't think about because it's a Western-oriented school. But the biggest article that I had was about racial profiling at Garfield. There's a lot of suspicion about whether or not Black students were punished more often, more severely than their white counterparts for the same things. Actually, there's a U.S. Department of Education, their Office of Civil Rights was investigating my district to see if they discriminated against Black students for that reason, and also if there's a ceiling for students whose first language wasn't English. The reason why I wanted to get into this was because, you know, you hear these things. There's stories about, like, there's a group of guys giving birthday punches, but which one of them gets in trouble? And it's usually the students of color. And I interviewed them, and the white students got off, but the Asian student whose parents couldn't speak English, who didn't know they could appeal their suspension, didn't have time to come in and try to appeal it like some other parents can advocate for their kids, and ended up like missing hella school. And so I obtained statistics from a school administration that actually showed they were aware that Black students were disciplined at twice the rate of white students. That was the hugest disparity, and my administrator pointed out to me that part of that is because so many of the offenses logged by Black students are actually repeat offenders. Like, that means like they get in trouble once and there isn't a proper action that happens. There's just a harsh punishment that's supposed to get them back in line, but it's not working, obviously, if they keep doing it. And so that creates the question, is what we're doing as discipline in high school effective at all? Or is it perpetuating a school-to-prison pipeline where you continually show people that they can't trust a school, and then in the world they can't trust authority in general? How does racist profiling lead to racist policing? And it's not like racism starts after high school. It doesn't start the day you turn 18. And that's one thing that I really found significant, one of my findings. And so my article actually got a lot of attention. I was invited to a meeting with the superintendent of Seattle Public Schools. And what I did was, I didn't want to lose the name of action. And so I created a club to continually talk about disparities, and to continually talk about self-segregation in our school, continually talk about the difference in, like, the importance of having a teacher who's culturally competent and aware of having different students of color within the same classroom. And so other than the club, we had cultural competency trainings with teachers to try to welcome students into higher level classrooms without those microaggressions and that fear of being judged because you were different the second you walk into the classroom. And after that, I met a lot of great teachers who pointed out to me that you know, if you want to change the system, maybe you should get into it. And so what I decided to do with that, I joined the building leadership team, which is a panel of teachers, administrators, TTSA, And they basically make the rules for the school, and they also do the professional developments. So I started attending those as I tried to push for a positive behavior intervention system. And so what I learned from all of this is that, you know, looking back, I don't think I knew all the answers, but I just kept asking the question, is it fair? And if the answer was no, then I had to keep asking questions and digging deeper. Is it fair for the students who are going to be adversely affected by any negative change into funding at our school? And so I kind of found the right people who pointed me toward the right platforms to influence what was going on. And I wanted to keep pursuing this institutional change, which isn't easy or immediate, as I think you all realize. But I do believe that cultural shifts can begin with individual mental shifts. The different ways in which people, you all, disrupt creatively or agitate successfully, like Mr. Carter said. It gives me hope for a more just and humane world, and thank you.